Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Foxy Boxes map making with Sparks. This is Sparks and we are on Foxy Boxes. Wow, I'm great at intros, aren't I? Hello everybody, hope you had a nice Christmas. I have, which is why the episode's a little bit late, because I was spending time with family, you know, things like that. 'Tis the season. But here we are, new episode. So I've done two little tiny things off camera. First of all, I created a a Foxy Boxes dev pack, which can sit on top of the regular Foxy Boxes resource pack. And at the moment, all it does is put a line around my hotbars, and so I can actually see what I've got selected, because that was becoming kind of difficult. The other thing I did is that I noticed that when you hover over one of these inventory items here, they just displayed a blank square. So what I've done is I've used the law to give them a name. So effectively the name is blank, but the law is what they are. So it sort of does this when you hover over it, which is better than just a little blank square appearing in the corner. But because I'm not using a name, they still don't show up any text when I scroll over them. So I think that's a nice little trick. So today's episode, we're going to keep working on the inventory, the menu system that we're building, and I also want to work on a world border timer. Somebody linked me to a tutorial by someone. I actually recognize their name. So we're going to try and work on designing a timer based on the world border today as well. You may also notice that I sound a little different. This is a new microphone. I bought a Blue Yeti. Still playing with the settings a little bit, so hopefully everything goes okay with the recording. I'm keeping a close eye on Audacity while I'm recording this, but in fact I'm going to turn the gain down a little bit because I think I'm almost capping the mic. But yeah, I think it's looking pretty good. It's nice to upgrade the microphone after 3 years. Okay, so we're going to work on the world border timer first. Now let me just quickly go back over why we're using the world border to count time in the game. So the Minecraft works on a tick-based system. So every cycle of its internal mechanics, it will go through and process everything in the world, and it aims to do this 20 times a second. There are optimally 20 ticks per second. This is different from a redstone tick, which is twice that of a game tick. So 10 redstone ticks per second or 20 game ticks per second. And as most of you know, command blocks run 20 times a second if they're on a fill clock. So that's the fastest you can process a command. So what happens, however, is that if the game has a lot to do in a tick, it will wait until it's finished everything that tick needs to do before generating the next tick, which means if a lot is going on, or if a processor, a computer's CPU cannot handle the processing of everything that needs to be done in that 20th of a second, it will wait until everything's finished before the next tick starts. Which means that you no longer have 20 ticks per second. So if we simply had something that adds up, counts the ticks that the player's been in the game, divides it by 60 to work out how many seconds they've been in the game, then over time, if their computer is not optimal, it will skew the result and it will appear like they've been playing for less time than they have, because each second will be considered to be longer than it actually is. Now, the world border is the only thing in Minecraft that doesn't use this tick-based system. It uses the computer's clock to calculate how quickly it shrinks. Now, Headaxe has made a tutorial on this, and I think other people have done it too, but the tutorial that I was linked in the comments of the last video, thank you very much, is by Headaxe. So I'm just basically going to follow his tutorial, because this is new to me. I've never tried this before. So we're going to add, we can tab complete. I haven't worked in 1.9 in a while. Scoreboard objectives, add time dummy. So this is going to be our time tracking entity, and we're going to, I guess, create an armor stand that we can track this off of. I'm going to use the one called control. So summon armor stand, no gravity. I always put no gravity on armor stands that I'm using for marking in case they fall, in case the block under them breaks or something. Custom name control. Custom name visible won't be. I always make the name visible if possible as well, so I can remember what I called it. So that's our control armor stand. So that's going to keep track of time for us. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set the world border to a large number. So we're going to go world. I'm going to link this tutorial in the description as well, so you can do this yourself if you want. World border set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 million. So we're going to set that. I'm going to put this in here as well in case we need to reinitialize anything. And then we're going to let the world border expand by 1 block per second. So apparently the way we do this is world border set 2 million, 1 million. So it says that should make it expand by 1 block per second. Unlike a clock powered by ticks, the world border expands using an external process. All you have to do now is get the value of the world border in a command block. And then I imagine that after that you also need to set the world border back to 1 million. So that will set the expansion rate of it. I guess what it's saying here is that it's going to take 1 million seconds to expand to a size of 2 million, which is the equivalent of expanding for 1 second. In fact, I don't think we have to set it back to 0. I think all it's doing is getting the size of the world border. So apparently what we can do now is world border get, which has been saved to the value as a query result. All we have to do is transform the result into a scoreboard value. So it's world border get. Oh, this is clever. I've never used entity. I've never used stats on a block before. Stats block -1 on the X. So we're getting the query result of the block before this one. That's kind of cool. I need to remember to do that because I think I always use entities for this. Set query result time control, we called ours time. I think time is the name of the query result, I'm not sure. Set query result time to the scoreboard time. Who would it set the result to, though? I don't understand how this is working. Scoreboard objective set to sidebar time. Oh, I haven't added my scoreboard yet. I should also turn this on. Okay, world border, that size. Storing query result stats in time, on time. So I think that should actually be at E name equals control type equals armor stand. Maybe it's saving it to a dummy objective. Okay, that seems to be working now. So that's putting it into a dummy objective, and it's counting up once a second. Kind of cool. So I guess what it's doing is the world border is expanding once a second, and this is simply taking away 1 million from the results. So we've got 1 million and whatever number it is. So I guess that we technically have a clock which can count up to 2 million, which is 555 hours before it reaches its max size. I feel like that's a comparable amount of time to measure. I would be very surprised if somebody took that long to complete the game. And I guess that, I mean, the timer is mostly for speedrunners, and if somebody takes 500 hours to complete this game, and they care about their completion time, and it's over 500 hours, then they are not very good at speedrunning. So I guess we will just do that then. I may switch it over so it's not storing it on. What it's currently doing is time is a dummy player. It's a fake player, and you can't always read those values very well into like scoreboard scoreboard calculations and things. So we may need to change this out a bit. So the next step here is to turn this into a hours, minutes, second format in our inventory, somewhere in the inventory. So what we're going to need to do is effectively divide it up a little bit, divide this number up to make it into something we can work with. Okay, so I've been thinking about this. Now, something that I would do if this wasn't happening once a second is simply so we can get the number of seconds, for example, by dividing our time by 60. No, we need to do mod 60. Okay, so we're currently setting the dummy player seconds to the same value as the time, and then we're going to create a new scoreboard objective called. Actually, wait. I think we can just put score. Hang on. Scoreboard players set second time 60. Okay, so it's 60 seconds, and then what we should be able to do, we may have to use an actual player for at this point, is scoreboard player operation seconds time mod equals second time. So the seconds should now show should count up to 59 and then change to 0 and then go back up to 59. Let's just watch it for a bit and see what it does. Yep, seems to be working. That's pretty cool. We can actually set the world border back to we can set the timer back to 0 by executing this command. Apparently doing that has stopped that, so we need to redo that to start the timer again. There we go. So we should be able to do the same thing with minutes by dividing it by 120. Okay, here we go. 55, 56 minutes should change to 1 in a second. Okay, that's good. So it's changed to 1. So what I've basically done is I've just divided the total time. I set minutes to the total time, and then I divide minutes by the minute value, which is 60. And in fact, since that's the same as second, I think I'm just going to divide it by second. Like that. And the problem is that now this will not change back over to, like, if we get past 60 minutes, it won't go back to 0. I don't know how to add to that quickly, but I think what will happen is in an hour it will change to 61 minutes. So I think what we need to do is we need to mod 60 that as well. So copy this. minutes. So it hasn't changed minutes. So what it's doing is modulus minutes to second. So it's doing modulus 60 on the number of minutes, and then it's giving us the remainder. So I think that will be fine after an hour. I'll have to leave it and watch it. And then I think for the hours, I guess we do the same thing again. I think I can get rid of minute on the scoreboard. Because I only need second, and second is being used for the value of 60 basically. So I think for hours then it's just copy that, change this to hours, and then after we get that we have to divide it by 60, which gives us the number of minutes, and then divide it by 60 again. I guess we can just divide by 3,600, right? So, oops, 3,600 will be hours. Or hour even. The value of an hour. So we can change that to hour, and we should see 0. Okay, so that'll change to 1, and then finally we need to modulus that against 60. Same as this one. Okay, so we've been going for 4 minutes and 30 seconds, almost 5 minutes since the last reset, so you can see that on the scoreboard there. So we should be able to turn this into items in the inventory to display this nicely in our menu. 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Nice. So that seems to be working quite nicely. It is working this out at an excessive speed, I think, because we're doing this 20 times a second, but we're only it's only actually visually updating once a second. So we may slow that clock down if we find that we're getting lag, but I'll leave it like that for now. Better leave a sign as well so I don't forget what it's doing. So does pushing this button completely reset the time? It does. Okay, that's good. So we know we can reset the playtime if somebody wants to start the map afresh. Something I want to make with this game is the ability to reset the game without having to unzip the map. So have your time reset, have all your points and scores and percentages and everything just reset back to the beginning without you having, as quickly as possible, because speedrunners tend to have this habit of just, turning the machine off and back on again and just starting from afresh if they screw up. So cool, we got that working. I'm going to keep that running in the sidebar for the rest of the episode, unless we need the sidebar, I think. So for storing this value in inventory, we cannot give people seconds amount of items just with one command. We can't MBT that. So what we need to do is effectively split it up. So if we were using the /give command, we could give them, what we could do is we could say if their score is greater than 1, give them an item. If their score is greater than 2, give them 2 items. Basically, rather than going if their score is 1, give them 1, if their score is 2, give them 2, if their score is 3, give them 3 items, you could check if their score is 6 is 60. If it's 60, give them 60. Actually, I think 30 would be fine. So we could say if their score is 30, give them 30. If their score is, I don't know, greater than 15, give them another 15 on top of that 30, or something like that. I think I can't think of the maths off the top of my head, but I have done that with binary numbers before. For example, custom terrain uses it, so you don't have to have a command per possible number. You can kind of you can work it out by doing some modulus stuff. But I think if we're constantly giving people items once a second, we're just going to get this constant. Now I'm just trying to make the best pop noise I can while you're playing the game, which isn't great. Even if we remove that sound, the give command makes the item appear in your screen briefly. It effectively summons the item next to you with a pickup delay of 0, which is a weird way of doing it. So I think our only real option here is to use replace item. Now with replace item, as far as I'm aware, we cannot just add to the number of items in a slot. The only thing we can do is completely replace the items in a slot, which means we're going to need a command. We're going to need 60 commands for seconds, 60 for minutes, and 60 for hours. So I think what we're going to have to do is generate some code. Okay, so this is the replace item command, which we're going to use. Just for now, I'm going to use Stone. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. So, copying this into here. We're going to paste this into here. This is Google Docs, and I'm just using it to duplicate some stuff. So, we've got execute at E, type equals _ name equals seconds, score time equals 2, score time equals 2, replace entity as, blah, blah, blah. So, we need to split this up into separate sections. So, this all stays the same for every single one. Then this becomes our value, 0, for example, 1, etc. Then after that, we have the comma, score time min equals, and then the same thing goes here, 0, 1, etc. And then after that, we have the close bracket, replace item, all of that stays the same, and then up to here. And then finally, this becomes again the number. So what we should be able to do is just copy this down 60 times. 62, I think, because we've got 1 is our example. Okay, it was just 61 times. Boop, like that. Okay, and then with this one here, we should be able to just copy these two here, drag it down, and it will automatically generate numbers 0 to 59 for us. Fantastic. Same thing for this one, nice and quick, nice and easy. Now I'm actually going to use a generator, which I'm working on at the moment, to build this, which I think it's not done, but it definitely works for what we're doing here. So I will be allowing you to use this generator if you wish, but don't expect it to have no bugs, because there are still bugs. So what we now have here is several lines of code, one command for each of these 60 things we want to do. So we can copy these, and if we were to paste these directly into my generator, we will find that there are big gaps between the numbers. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to go into Notepad++, paste them in, and we're going to find and replace all of these with nothing. Like that. Replace all. Done. Okay, so now we should have a load of these commands. This generator, which can be found on accidentalgames.com/generator. We're going to paste this into the main clock. So these are all of the command blocks we want to place. I have no idea why that top one is orange. Literally no idea. That's very weird. And in fact, we should be able to get rid of all of these // at the start of the commands as well. So let's go over to the generate options, and we can see we've actually filled 43%. So installation settings, set block, our location where we want this line to be placed is going to be Where's the best place to put this? Launch crate, found destruction player, launch and dash, velocity and air, click control, and then some slow constants. I guess we need 3 of these lines. I guess we can put it down here. So our coordinates are going to be 1425, 16, 933. 1425, 16, 933. Going with absolute coordinates, line runs towards positive x, chains are always powered, it's a line. The first command block, we're going to make an impulse command block. It's not always powered, and we're going to add a hopper clock to it. So we should have a one-click generated now for us. I'm going to do a backup before I do this. I really am. 1 second. Okay, so we should be able to paste this command in that we got from the generator and generate all of those. Perfect. So we should find, however, that we missed a space. Yeah, there's supposed to be a space right there. And there we go. We now have an item in our inventory which is constantly checking and showing the number of items in seconds. So that should change to 0 in a moment. Now you'll notice it's on a slow hopper clock, so it's not appearing to update consistently. But we can change that by just increasing the speed of the clock that it's attached to using transfer cooldown. 56, 57, 58, 59. And it looks like 0 doesn't quite work, but you know, I'm probably going to change these over for damage values of Ho anyway, but it's kind of cool for us to be able to see. I'm going to speed up this clock a second, and then we're going to generate the same thing for minutes and seconds. So here I'm literally going to change, I'm going to do find and replace to find seconds and change it to minutes. Replace all, and then finally we just, by the way, if you're wondering how I'm selecting a column like this, you can hold Alt in Notepad++ and also my generator to select an entire row. So here we can change this to 1, and this over here, I moved, these were 1, I've just changed them off camera to 2 because I realized that I needed to shift them over, so change that to 1. There we go, 1 hour, 3 minutes, 21 seconds. Not bad. That is a lot of command blocks running every tick, so I don't know how best to slow that down, but it was kind of, it didn't look great. Do you know what? I reckon the seconds one should be on 20 ticks, but I reckon these ones down here could easily be changed over to just a regular impulse line because they don't run so quickly. Like that. So we can just put a hopper clock on each of those, and I'm going to move this, I think I'm going to move them all up a little bit as well because they're currently kind of getting in the way of my test area. Alright, and that's me done for today. I have to go to a Christmas meal now, so thank you very much for watching. I think what I want to do is I want to change these over to textured items which look like numbers, but just for to check if the concept worked today, I just worked with items. I would really like to be able to tell when a player is looking in the inventory. Now, I know that you can detect when somebody looks into the inventory using the achievement taking inventory, but I don't know if there's any way of telling when they leave the inventory other than waiting for them to move. So if anybody knows of a way to do that, do say, because that'd be handy. And I guess thank you as always for your feedback. Let me know if there's anything particular you want me to work on next episode, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.